Alright guys, so now that we have fetched the post through our action and we're getting it here when this post component mounts, then we're passing it into the post feed component, and then we're taking the posts, mapping through them, and then we're loading up the post item component, which we haven't created yet. So that's what we're going to do now. So let's go to post item. Let's create a class called post item. Okay, so we are going to bring in a bunch of things here. We're going to bring in connect and prop types, so we can grab those from posts. We're also going to bring in class names, and you'll see why in a little bit. So let's say class names from class names. And let's see, we're also going to bring in link from the router. So link from, that's going to be from React router DOM. And then we're going to have a bunch of actions as well, but I'll hold off on those for now. Let's see. Let's bring in what we need to from our state. So we're going to go down here and export connect. And let's pass in here map state to props. Okay, so what we need is two things. We need the post state. Actually, no, I'm sorry, we don't need the post state because the post is being passed in. What we do need is auth, okay, because we need to check to see whose post is whose. If it's the current user, then I want them to be able to delete it, okay, but we don't want just everyone to be able to delete everyone's post, so we do need the auth state. All right, let's add our prop types. So we'll say post item dot prop types, and we have the post, which is being passed in. Whoops, prop types, and that is going to be an object. And then we also have our auth state, which is a property, which is an object. Okay. Now let's see. Let's work on let's go to our render and let's pull the post and auth out of props. Okay, so we'll say const, use some destructuring. We're going to say post and auth. We want those from this dot props, okay, because we have this dot props dot auth because we brought it in here. We also have this dot props dot post because we passed it in here, okay. So now that we have that, let's work on the actual markup. So what I'll do is I'm going to open up our dev connector theme, and I'm going to open up the, let's see, feed HTML. I'm going to open that with Sublime, and let's see what we need from here. So if we go down, that's the form, here's the feed, and then we have the post item. All right, so this div here ends here. I'm going to grab all of this and copy it. Okay, so from this div with the card to that div. All right, and then what we'll do is we'll replace these two divs with that stuff. Okay, I'll just save it to format it, which isn't working for some reason. But let's change all these classes to class name, and just Control D. Okay. Now what we want to do is start to make this dynamic. Okay. If we, why is this not saving? Is it not saving? I don't know. Let's check out the application. Let's see, unexpected token 36. Oh, I have a comment in here. I'm just gonna get rid of that whole thing there. Alright, so now I can actually save it. And let's see, state is not defined, so I must have screwed up somewhere here. Let's go down here. State is not defined. That's because this is wrong. This should be state and then an arrow, and then put our parenthesis here. There we go. Alright, so here we go. Now this is just static content. This is not coming from anywhere. It's just in the HTML because I just copied it from the theme. But you can see how it's repeating because there's two posts in the state. So now we just want to basically replace this with dynamic content that's actually coming from our state, coming from our database. So let's go to the markup here. And first thing we'll do is the avatar. So we want to replace, let's see, source, where we have the posts variable that we can use because we're pulling that from the property that's passed in. So we want to set that to post dot, and remember each post has an avatar. That's how we set it up, so that if the user deletes their account, we can still have their avatar and all that stuff. So we'll do that, and if we were to save that and take a look, now we have the correct avatar. So now let's work on the name. So this right here, we'll get rid of that and we'll say post dot name. And then down here we have the post text, post dot text. And then for this, let's see, we have our likes, our like button. Now it might take another video to actually add all the functionality where we can actually like and stuff like that and delete. But for now, where we have this number 4, let's replace that with post.likes.length. Okay, that'll give us the number of likes at least. And let's see, down here, we're going to be adding more stuff here, some event handlers and stuff to actually like and unlike, but I'm going to wait on that. For this comments thing here, this button, let's change this to link. And let's say 2. And then where we want to go is, let's put some backticks in here. We're going to want to go to /post/ and then the post ID. So we can say post._ID. Now we're going to have a route that will allow us to get to the post with the ID. So we'll create that in a little bit. Let's see what else we want to do here. We want to display a delete button if it's the user's that's logged in, if it's their post. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go right under the link and we'll put in an expression here. We'll say post.user if it's equal to auth. This is why we brought in the auth. If it's equal to auth.user.id, then we want to display a button. Let's give it a class of btn and btn-danger and margin right 1. Alright, and we want to make sure we give this a type of button. And we also want to give this an event handler. So we're going to say on click. We'll say on click equals, and let's say this dot on delete click, and then I'm just going to bind. Let's say dot bind this. Now we also want to pass in the post ID so we know which post we're deleting, and we can get that with post._ID. Okay, and then I'm just going to put an icon in here as well. So we'll go right in between the button tags, and we'll put an I tag with the class of FAS, and FA dash times, like that. Oops, what happened? Okay. Now we want to have an else to this ternary operator, so I'm going to put a colon in here, and then it's just going to be null. Okay, and I'll save that. So let's check it out. All right, now notice that we're not seeing a delete button. That's because we're logged in as John. So I'm going to log out and log back in as Brad. And now go to post feed. Okay, so we're getting an error because I didn't actually create the on delete click function, and we added it as a click handler function. So let's just add that real quick. And on delete click is going to take in an ID. And for now, let's just console.log ID. All right, just so it doesn't give us that error. And there we go. So now you can see that we're seeing the delete buttons because we're logged in as this user. Okay. So let's log out. Let's log back in as John. And submit. And I noticed that one thing we didn't even do yet is test to see if we add a post, if it shows up. Where we know we can see them, but when we add the post, it should show up. It should show up right away. So let's say, what should we say here? We'll just say whatever. Hello, I am new here. I am a Python developer. Submit, and there we go. Okay, so it gets added right away. It gets added to our post state. If I reload, it's still there. And notice that since we're logged in as John, we're seeing the delete button, which doesn't do anything yet because we haven't added that functionality. All right, so we're getting there. I think in the next video what we'll do is work on the delete so we can actually delete the post, and also work on liking. Notice these all now have a zero amounts of likes because there's nothing in any of the likes arrays. If we were to look at the state, let's see, where are we? State of posts. You'll see all these likes, they're all empty arrays, okay? So we'll get to that next.